I got the question. It's he asked about roster. Just I knew he would. I promise I'll have something for you guys by Friday. Um, no, I'll probably address this after. There's a few guys I have to tell. We pretty much solidified the roster, but I just got to make sure they'll know. So probably after the game, I'll deliver the Woody bombs.
Anything else? Other questions? Nothing else today?
Oh, Evan, we almost had a one question day, man.
Evan?
Woody?
Yeah.
The in terms of how similar in terms of makeup are Kiner and Trevino in your mind?
They are very similar. That's a good call. I think they both have kind of the same competitive spirit. I think Trevino may be a little bit more vocal than Kiner. If you get Kiner one-on-one, he'll talk all day. But Trevino in more of a group setting is more vocal. But yeah, I think the way they work, the way they go about their business. I know Trevino's got a family. Whereas Kiner's single, but very, very similar mindset. I love their attitude on the field and off the field. But yeah, I mean, the only difference, as I said, are just the one's more vocal than the other.
Everything you talk about competitiveness and process and all that, to me, it's like those two guys, they embody the idea that you maximize your ceiling with the process.
Absolutely, and I think they're great examples for our organization to show our younger players that are coming up. I'm really thankful that they got to witness Kiner win a job the way he did. I think it's just a matter of time before Trevino does the same thing. I truly believe that. So, the Shirton Apostles, the Josh Youngs, the Leody Taveras, they're all witnessing this to see, okay, this is what it takes to win a spot here. And obviously Kiner's, going to get an opportunity early in the season, but he's still got to earn it. It's nothing's going to be handed to him after day one. He has to earn it on a daily basis. But yeah, I'm really thankful that we have those guys to represent our example. This is what we ask of younger players, and this is what we ask of all our players.
I'm kind of, I don't even know what the word is, but you're starting Kiner at third base. Trevino could have a significant role as the season goes on. Obviously, Jonathan Hernandez has a significant role in the bullpen, and you've talked about Leody all summer camp. It would seem like this could be a significant year in Rangers player development, even though there's really no player development season.
Yeah, no, it honestly is. JD and I have been talking about that quite a bit. Just how impressed we've been at some of these guys. You look at what Tejeda's done, before spring training got shut down, and then when he came back. A lot of these guys that have come up through our system. Josh Young, you see the impact he's had in a lot of games here. I mean, this kid just got drafted last year, so it is a testament to the organization, and that's where when I got here, I saw how dedicated they were down in our minor league system and our player development, and we've gotten better. We've gotten better. We put better coaches. We put better systems in place, better technology in place for these guys. Like I said before, that there is no excuse why players can't improve. We have the right everything to make these guys better, and we're starting to see it, which is obviously the most important part of it. You can put all those pieces into place, but you have to improve players, and we're starting to see that right now. And I'm really anxious to see how the rest of the next couple years, who kind of comes out and performs like some of these guys are doing right now. We may have a lot of really good players on our hands.
And I guess I missed the first question. You did not. You have no news on Leody at this point, correct?
No. I'll let you guys know after.
That would be a missile or a bomb?
There may be a few. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it.
All right,
It won't do that much damage.
Go to Dave Raymond.
Thank you. Woody, quick question about Joey. He missed that time early in camp. In your mind, in his mind, is he where he needs to be or should be at this point, or should we expect that he might need a few more live at bats before he's really at top Joey level?
I think it's probably going to – I don't think he's – I think he does need a few more games, personally. Obviously, he's going to get those games. The regular season starts in 2 days, so he's going to be in that game. So, I don't think he's, locked in by any means, but, he's getting as many at-bats as he possibly can right now. His work is, as good as it can be to try to prepare for those at-bats. Something may click tonight. He may hit a homer tonight and win MVP. Like, you just don't know. I think what is the right number of at-bats? Some guys figure it out quick. Some guys take a little while. I mean, some guys start the season slow. Some guys start fast. Once, the regular season hits, I just don't want him to get frustrated because he doesn't feel right. He's fine. I mean, I've talked to him. He wants to perform every game. He wants to produce every game. He had a couple good at-bats last night, especially the walk. But he's still not exactly where he needs to be or where he wants to be. So that's just going to take a little bit, probably more time for him just because he got such a late start.
Next question, please.
Hey, Woody, Jeff Kolb with Fox 4. Just curious about how are you appreciating this opportunity to manage the club into this new era at Globe Life Field, and what impact, if any, do you feel like it'll have on the culture and everything you're trying to build with this club?
Yeah, the ballpark itself is fantastic. I'm just really fortunate to happen to get the job at this time when this building is being built. It's going to, unfortunately, not having the fans in the building is a little bit of a buzzkill because it's such a beautiful place, and I can't wait to feel the energy of fans here. But it is what it is. I mean, I think 2020 is what everybody sees it. There's a bunch of challenges, a bunch of roadblocks, obstacles, whatever you want to call it. We're taking them head on. I'm proud of our group, and we're ready to roll. So moving forward, maybe if it's this year or if it's not till next year when we see fans in the ballpark, it's going to be a huge plus for us in so many ways. Just getting out of that heat, maybe enticing free agents to come play for us. There's a ton of value opening this ballpark.
Other questions, TR?
Chris, what's your plan as far as using two DHs tonight, as far as getting Willie in there and Ronald also in there? What's the motivation behind that?
Yeah, originally I had Chirinos in there. He decided not to play. He's fine. Physically, he's 100%. He just decided to not take the at-bats. So I had already kind of come to – I think it's more on our video operator, Adam Brenner. He made a lineup card with 10 guys, so it took a lot of work to do it. So when I pulled Chirinos, instead of keeping it at 9, I just decided to – obviously Guzzi wasn't playing, so I wanted Guzzi to get some at-bats, so I put him in there. But yeah, originally it was just to get Calhoun in the game and Chirinos to get the at-bats because he's he hasn't had as many lately. But Chirinos said he's fine. He said he doesn't need him today. So I just stuck Guzzi in his place instead.
The situation with Rafael Montero. I mean, this guy was supposed to be the number 2 guy out of the bullpen, and he's kind of disappeared a little bit. What exactly is going on with him?
He had some right forearm tightness kind of on his outside of his forearm. It's just taking a little longer than we anticipated. We're being obviously pretty careful. We don't want to be out the whole year if something were to happen. So, we'd like him to be ready a little sooner than he's going to be, but it is what it is, and we're going to have to deal with it. But he'll be ready sometime in the first, hopefully, couple of weeks.
He's still in bullpen, correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, please? Let's go to Alex.
Woody, so you're carrying 3 catchers, Mathis, Chirinos, and Trevino. Is there a distinct plan in utilizing all 3, or is it just going to be evaluated based on a series-by-series basis?
Kind of a series by series. I mean, I'd like to map it out and plan it out, but that's just not possible. We gotta obviously if Ravi's hitting really well, or somebody has a good game, and we want to ride that kind of hot hand, we will. Obviously, Ravi's a potent bat, especially from the catching position. We got to be careful with his ankle and make sure we don't overdo it. But at this point, all 3 guys are, willing to kind of sacrifice for the team. So unfortunately, with 3 guys, it's going to be tough to get the at-bats that you'd want to get. I want to make sure they're included, but at the same time, we're trying to do the best we can to win games. And going back and forth with three guys is probably going to make all three guys worse. So we want to make sure we're valuing. Robbie obviously gets the bulk of the at-bats, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Woody.
Next question, please. Jeff.
Back to Joey. I mean, we all know he hasn't played since July. It seems like he's having a good spring training. But is there still a question regarding Joey? Can he do it for a full year? Well, this isn't a full year, but is he going to be the player he was last year?
I believe so. I think every player has to prove that. Anytime you have a good year, especially when it's your first real, really, really productive year. I mean, he was an all-star last year, 1,000 OPS for most of the year. Can he repeat that? I believe so. I think that's the biggest question for anybody that does well. After Mookie Betts' first year where he, had a 950 or 1,000 OPS, he had to repeat it. Everybody was like, okay, is Mookie Betts going to be that guy? I look at Joey's, production, and I look at his processes and his, the way he prepares. That's where I get the trust. That's where I believe he can. Is it going to be exactly the same? I don't know. It could be a little bit better. It could be a little bit worse. I don't know, but I feel like it's going to be around the same. Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? Looks like Evan Grant.
Will Willie run tonight?
He ran a lot yesterday, so he's going to do some pregame stuff to see how he feels. If he doesn't, if he's sore, I know he had a good leg workout. He said yesterday. So if there's any kind of soreness, I'll just have him hit and have somebody run for him. Not standing next to him like in the batter's box, but like once he gets to first base.
But he'd still be able to take at bats.
Yes. Yeah. He can run. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, if he hits a base hit or even if it's a double, he could probably jog into second base. It's not that he can't run at all. I would just be reluctant for him to stay on the bases if he gets on.
Okay. Did you settle on your first week rotation?
I will give you that later on.
Later on, okay.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, what's your level of concern about Jose Leclerc at this point?
I don't think I'm concerned. Obviously I think we have concern with everybody. We always want everybody to be successful, but just talking to him, hearing his attitude about it, how calm he is, how easy it is for him to communicate now with Julio and the coaches, and where he is, from a mental standpoint, along with his physical, ability to repeat his delivery. I feel pretty good about it. I don't want to see him give up homers. I don't want anybody to have any, not success, but I feel pretty confident of him going into the season.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, Jared?
Woody, I know some of this depends on matchups, but let's say Lance Lynn on Friday goes 7 innings, and it's a 2-run ball game. You're in the lead. Who are the guys you consider most for the 8th inning? Is Jonathan Hernandez one of those guys, or if you had to identify 2 guys who kind of fit that setup role right now with Montero out, who would those guys be?
Jonathan would definitely be a guy. If we look at our matchups and see who does match up, obviously you got to look at the psyche of the person. A guy who's never, has limited experience in the big leagues, that's obviously a huge factor, especially game 1. Early in the season, they need to get a little bit, their feet wet a little bit just so we can put them in that role. Volquez kind of comes to mind because he's pitched in so many big games. He could handle it. But we'll look at it from a matchup standpoint and then evaluate who could actually handle that, from a mental standpoint and go from there. But those 2 guys come to mind.
Got it. Thank you.
Other questions? Emily, are you waving or do you have a question?
I have a question, John.
Okay, thank you.
When you're playing, and this isn't exactly conventional to play the same team in 2 exhibition games and then open with a regular season 3-game series, how much does that play into the personnel you're using, the decisions you're making, all those kind of things?
I'm not really making any decisions around. We're just going to strike out every time and let them win, and then we're going to crush them opening day. So It does.
Great strategy.
It does
Great
factor
strategy.
in. Listen, I mean, we saw their best guys yesterday at the top of the lineup, so we got to see a little bit of them. They saw our guys. I'm not too worried about it. There are some things that we're kind of holding in reserve that we'd normally do. We're not going to open the full gamut of what we're going to hit them with opening day, but it's, I'm not too worried about the exposure, if that's what you're kind of getting at. I know they faced some guys that they're probably going to face, Jonathan, and, if Jonathan's the eighth inning guy, they faced him once yesterday. You can go ask Matt Kemp, I guess, or the guy he drilled in the side how it felt. I don't know if that's going to factor in, but I'm not too worried about it.
What else? DR?
Just a quick clarification, Willie Calhoun, his first at bat, singles to left field, you send a pinch runner in for him, and then when Calhoun comes up again, he stays in the game, right? It's like a backfield game, right?
Yeah, that's what I talked to the Rockies about it, talked to the umpires about it. They're fine with it.
Thank you.
So I will tell you guys our final roster moves, I guess. So we kept Ian Jabot, Colby Allard, and Joe Palumbo for our bullpen. We also kept Guzman, Refsnyder, Heineman, and Taveras. And they've all been informed, along with the guys that did not make the team.
Okay, questions? Levi? No? Anybody?
To have a technical difficulty.
Technical issues, another question?
Feel you, man.
Can you hear me? Chris?
Okay, I got mine sorted if you can hear me.
Okay. Go ahead, Levi.
Yep, we got you.
Okay. On the Guzman versus Greg Bird competition, what were the deciding factors that went into that? And do we know, is Bird going to stay in the alternate camp or?
Yes, Bird is going to stay with us. Really, one thing I told Birdie, he was starting to trend in the right direction. What I was seeing was better. He was hitting some balls hard, but I told him it really wasn't about Guzman. It was more about Kiner. So, when we look at our infield defense, being able to put Guzzi in late, I can, pick and choose when I want to start Guzzi. That part of it, regardless of if Birdie made the team, I was going to give Kiner the at-bats probably in the beginning, at least. So it doesn't mean we can't make that switch again. I told Guzzi, he's going to have to earn his playing time, and he's working on a lot of things right now, but, we will make that switch if anybody starts to fail or, we feel like Guzzi's not in a good spot or, Kiner's not or Frazier, whatever. We're not afraid to make a move quickly.
Evan? Oh, I'm sorry. Good?
No, go ahead.
Evan? You're muted. You have an issue, Dan?
No, he's not. He didn't unmute himself. There we go.
Okay, here we go. Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
All right. Woody, ultimately, what was the call on Leody Tavares?
You guys have been saying it the whole time. You guys have been choosing my words for me. He kind of forced our hand. I did tell him, I said, listen, I don't think we had any intention of keeping him to start the camp, to be honest, if I was going to be completely honest. We thought he was out of the prospect group the most likely just because of his skill set. He could fit that role. He could fit the role of pinch runner, plays in elite center field. That kind of thing. It just he earned it, man. The way he swung the bat, the way he played, the way he prepared, everything he did. He earned a spot on the team.
In the bullpen, the one thing that sticks out a little bit to me is that Taylor Hearn did not make the bullpen. Was that just because you did not see the consistent command in summer camp?
Yeah, I did tell him, if this was a 162-game season, he probably makes the team because we can kind of ride through some of the inconsistencies we were seeing. We believe in Taylor. I believe in Taylor. I want him on our team. But right now we have to kind of go with the guys that are a little bit more consistent. 60-game season is not like a 162 games. So, we took the more consistent guys as of right now. Like I said, anything can change within a week, and they all kind of know that. I'm not saying it's like super amount of pressure on young guys, but they just got to go out and compete and be consistent. And that's what I thought was missing with Taylor towards the end. He just wasn't throwing enough strikes. He's got a lot on his mind, obviously, and there's a lot going on in the world right now that he's a part of, and my hat's off to him. He's handling it all, with grace. But right now, I think the best thing for him is to kind of go over, across the street, work some things out, and so he can help us.
And you said Heineman did make the club, right?
Yes.
That was the other out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to some other guys for the time being.
Jeff?
Hey, Chris, how much will you attempt to play Tavares, or will he strictly be what you said, inch run?
I would say that probably he's going to do what I said in the beginning, at least, until something were to happen. If something happens to Danny and he kind of earns some playing time, I don't expect to put him out there on a regular basis unless something significant happens. But I did tell him, I said, listen, that's how typically guys, get their chances. They're on the team. They've earned a spot. They get put in the game. They get a big hit. Danny did that last year for us. I pinch hit, and he hit a triple. And next day he starts, and the rest is history. Now he's hitting third for us. So, can he become our, an everyday guy at some point? I don't know. But I was really impressed, obviously, with what I saw in the last 3 weeks.
Well, was there any hand-wringing over the starting the clock?
Yeah, of course. I think that's definitely an issue. And I don't even know if he's going to be on the roster the whole 60 games. We're going to have to make moves at August 6th. We're going to 2-week mark, and then 2 weeks after that, we're going to have to make another 2 moves. So, we're going to have to get rid of 4 guys within the first month. So there's no guarantee he's even going to be on the roster at that point. We might have to cut him out.
And then, you're sending guys over to keep working on things. How do they work on things? Then with no games to play, how does that work, and how do you evaluate what?
They'll be getting similar to what we've been doing here. They're just going to honestly have to whatever you have to do. If I was put in that situation, every at bat I got, regardless of whether there's a defense out there or the left field is 200 feet away, I'm going to make sure I get the most out of it. I think that's it's going to be on them. We're going to have coaches there. We're going to have staff members there watching them, kind of evaluating them, and they're going to give me the feedback. Hey, this guy's really competing. He looks good. He's in a good place. That's going to be the guy we call up. We don't have time to, wait out somebody's. Okay, we'll figure. This guy can figure it out. He's a higher price. It doesn't matter. Like the guy that goes and takes it serious is the guy we're going to bring back if we need a guy.
Thank you.
Other questions, TR?
What is Ref Snyder's role on this team going to be?
Primarily right-handed, bat off the bench. He can play first base. He can play left field if we needed him to. That's probably where it is as of right now. Like I said, he can, if he gets hot or, ends up somebody gets hurt, maybe he gets a little more playing time. But a lot of these guys, we're going to have 7 guys on our bench. So for me to get playing time for all these guys is impossible. So I've let them know that. They're obviously very aware of their role. If it's a late, one at bat, 2 at bats maybe every 3 days, that's what it is. That's what it is, and they're all prepared for that.
Have you identified a number 2 catcher? Have you given those guys a pecking order?
I haven't. I think I think in the beginning of the year, I'm definitely going to get both of them into a game. I don't want one to have to wait a week or 2 before they get in the game. So I'll probably catch Chirinos as much as he can, and then put Mathis and Trevino both, and then we'll decide from there.
Have you made a decision on Lyles on when his first start will be?
Almost. We're kind of talking about it. We talked to him a little bit about it, so we'll probably give you something in the next couple of days.
I'm going to take a couple more because we're going to bring Leone Tavares in here in a minute. Chris?
Just wanted to ask about your confidence in the depth in the infield. adding Refsnyder, Hearn, and Tavares gives you a lot of outfielders on the roster. How are you feeling about your infield depth since you have more outfielders than infielders?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Guzzi being just a first baseman, you look at Solak and Santana, their versatility kind of helps us quite a bit. Danny was taking ground balls there a little bit at second today. Danny doesn't mind if we had to put him in a pinch. Obviously, it's unfair to ask him to be great at it if he's only been playing center. But the fact that both of those guys can play infield, gives us that outfield/infield depth.
Second, Willie Calhoun, did you like what you saw from him tonight? How does that look going into the weekend?
Yeah, physically he's fine. He's obviously still trying to find his timing at the plate. To think that Robinson Chirinos might catch game 1 and Willie might DH game 2, like from where we were a couple of weeks ago, I'm pretty happy about that. And to think that we got basically our 5 starters are ready to roll. We have 3 relievers down, but they were kind of down before. Health-wise, I think we're in a good spot. You asked me a couple of weeks ago, I was a little bit concerned, but as of right now, we're in pretty good shape heading into the season.
We're going to take 2 more. Evan?
Yes.
Hey, I don't know if this question is better for John or for Woody, but I without having a roster directly in front of me.
I'll do the roster at the end. I'll explain where we are at the end.
Okay. I think that's the only technical question I had. So if there's anybody else who's got a real question, go ahead.
Anybody else have another question for Woody?
Yes, I got a question. Can you hear me? Eric Mora with Telemundo.
Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Coach. I just want to ask you, you already experienced 2 games without any fans in the stadium. What was the feeling about playing these 2 games without any fans? And how do you think this could impact the game of the players within the next games, the first games of the season? And the second question is, what is the role that Elvis Andrus has within the team?
Okay. I think the not having fans, I don't think in the beginning of the year it'll be that big of an issue because I think guys will be excited about starting the season. I think when it's going to come into play is maybe after the first month or so. But by then we'll only have a month left, so maybe it'll be a pennant race at that point. So I think we're kind of used to it by now. We've been doing it for 3 weeks now, and sometimes I don't even realize it, and just it's kind of become normal. So maybe there is a little bit of a lack of adrenaline at times. But once the regular season starts, I think that'll go away. I think guys will be fired up to play. Elvis obviously is our starting shortstop, is a guy we depend on every day. He loves to play on a daily basis, so we depend on him a lot for a lot of things. To kind of spark the offense at the top of the lineup, or today he hit a little bit deeper in the lineup, but we expect him to be a solid shortstop, make all the plays, and to kind of be a leader in the clubhouse, just kind of guide guys in the right direction.